what we do, who we are.
Survive a war, you gotta become war.
And happy Friday. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Rambo and Frens. You guys are in for quite a treat this morning, this afternoon, depending on where you're at. But hello, how are you? So I have had a very, very busy morning. I want to just say some things before we get started. This next week coming up, you guys are in for quite a treat. So I have 2 shows confirmed. I want to let you guys know what's upcoming. So on Monday night at 9 p.m., you guys are going to see an epic roundtable. This roundtable includes some of your favorites that have been on this show before. Beer at the Parade. A-Track has not been here yet before, but he's definitely going to be here Monday night. So A-Track will be here. Beer at the Parade will be here. JF and on will be here. Smart Paul will be here. And there is one guest that I am not yet going to tell you guys who it is, but I will just tell you right now that you do not want to miss it. I'm not sure yet what I am to call him on camera, as we are originally Anons. This man is an Anon. And I believe that show is going to simulcast on 3 other channels. That's how big a deal it is. So that's all I'm going to tell you now. Sorry for the teaser, but you got a teaser. And then Wednesday night at 9 p.m. I work day shift all next week, so the shows are going to be in the evening. On Wednesday night at 9 p.m., this Wednesday coming, I have confirmed Carly Bonet. So that is something I'm really excited about. So Carly's going to be coming on to hang out with Joe Rambo on Rambo and Frens. You guys look forward to it. Be here. It's going to be awesome. With that being said, we have a return friend of the show coming on today. You guys all know that I think she's brilliant because she is. And we're going to do this today. So let's see what Trump has to say about it.
A chance to talk to my friends. These are my friends.
And the friend of the day. How you doing, Feisty?
I'm doing great. How are you?
You like that clip?
I love that clip.
These are my friends. It fit kind of perfectly for what I'm trying to do on this show, which is
it's my way of it's the only way, I guess, that I'm actually going to get to meet Donald J. Trump, right?
Right? I know. And Yale keeps stopping in the chat. There's Mark Vegas right there, my man. So 8-Track, that is 8-Track for anybody watching on, what are you on, Rumble, buddy? So Mark Vegas is 8-Track. 8-Track will be here Monday night. He has his own show over on Patriots Helping Patriots Network. Please go check him out. I've been a guest over there with Scott, his partner in crime, over there on that show. The channel's awesome. I love those dudes. I can't wait to do this thing we're doing Monday night.
But back, awesome. Can't wait to watch it.
Right. So I told Feisty behind the scenes what's happening. Shh, don't tell anybody. It's going to be awesome. And Wednesday night's going to be awesome too. And I'm kind of hoping we get back to the normal time and schedule on Monday, which will be at 1 p.m. But I have not confirmed, but I think I have something special for you guys. I will have something special for you guys then as well. So, Feisty, how you been, girl?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I'm doing really great. Things are going so well.
I know. Isn't that funny? That reminds me of that meme where it's like normies and they're like screaming and it's like
and you're going, yeah, just hand me bonbons.
MAGA's like biting their nails and Anons are smiling in the background. Like we know.
Okay as can be.
That's so funny. All right. Well, I'm super excited to see you. That shirt is beautiful as you are. So
I didn't realize it was glittery. It isn't
it
glittery here. It's glittery there. I don't know why.
You look stunning, girl.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, let's take a second so we can get into this uninterrupted and say thank you to the sponsors. So first and foremost, a lot of you have already supported this show by using promo code Rambo for your My Pillow attire. And I want to tell you that I'm super grateful for it. I know I told you guys yesterday that Lori got the order that comes with the sponsorship from My Pillow. I can't wait to hear from her about what she thinks. I know that the things that I've gotten so far are absolutely unbelievable. I got like one of the really big pillows. I got one of the little pillows. I got flip flops. I got all kinds of stuff. Dog beds. I absolutely love this dude, and I love his part in the movement. And if you guys want to support him and also support this show, please use promo code Rambo. Let's see. So, and the other big one that I absolutely adore, I love these dudes, Pepe Deluxe and 8-Track, who we were just talking about, are the founders of Kofefe.coffee, right? So here's the website. I will put my own personal link, if you give me just a minute, in the chats of both Rumble and Twitter so that you guys can support through this show any one of your favorite Patriots and Anons that are involved in this project. 8-Track and Pepe Deluxe have put countless hours into what they did. You will see just a bunch of amazing people, and I know more are getting added. So this is not the end of this project. There will be more people that are involved in this, and I'm super grateful to be part of it. So if you do happen to buy Rambo Roast, please let me know what you think of it. I would love to shout you out and give some reviews. If you give me just a minute, I will put that link up. So Feisty, look, it's always exciting when you're on. You're like freaking brilliant. I know you like to think like you're nobody in this movement, but like the people that know, and your research is next level. And that's the truth. So I'm stoked always when I get a chance to hang out with you. I know I'm stoked this morning because we did so much stuff pre-show. But let's just get into it. Do you want me to start with one of my clips and then that'll feed into what you want to talk about? You're muted. You're muted.
Sorry. Absolutely. This is your show. I can go wherever you go.
Okay. So the one that before we even started talking about what we were going to talk about today, there was a clip that I'm like, man, I really want to ask Feisty what she thinks of this. And I think it leads in to some of the things that you already had pulled up. So let's talk about this one first. So this is Donald Trump. Now, everybody remembers that I've played multiple times the clip of Donald Trump talking about they are the ones that are really under investigation. And then he moves right along. It's one of my favorite clips. It's hysterical. Well, this one goes just a little bit more in depth. And if you buy into the fact that Donald Trump talks to multiple audiences at once, this one will like make your mind spin. It'll make your head spin right off the top of your shoulders, right? Let's take a look at it. And then, Feisty, I want to hear your response.
You know, it's pretty.
I lost the sound.
Document investigation. And when is Bill Clinton?
Is it back now?
Investigation started.
No, you're roboting or.
Hold on. I'm going to try something because it should still come through without my mic. So let's do it again a different way. So tell me if this works, Feisty. Mm-hmm. Guys in the chat, tell me if I'm 5x5, please. Let's try it again because typically I mute.
You know, it's many years now. When should we expect the Bush 1 document investigation? Yeah, it's a long time. And how about a Bush 2 document investigation? And when is Bill Clinton investigation starting? And are they beginning to look at Obama warehouse investigation? When is that? Next week or this week? How about this week? There's definitely no doubt that Hillary should have perhaps been charged. I did not even think about it. The document hoax is just that. It's a hoax and a charade, and I'm being unjustly, illegally, and unconstitutionally targeted. It's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. You know that? And Ray Chappaqua. Only a Hispanic could say that. Who said that? Stand up, sir. Ray Chappaqua. That's a very interesting idea. But because they know we're right, and we will win, and we will continue to win at every level, and that's what we've been doing. But I wanted to just give that as a little brief statement. When you think of the unfair table setting, when you think of how unfairly we've been treated, we as a group have been treated, it's just terrible. And we have to bring our country back. We have to stop the weaponization because the people of our country are hurt, they're angry, and they're sad. Our country is a very sad country right now. They've seen what's happened in 2 years. I say, and I say it quite often, no president, you could add 5 of them together, take our 5 worst, they haven't done damage to this country like has been done in the last 2 years.
Mhm. Mhm.
Bush 1, Bush 2, Obama warehouse, Hillary Clinton. Are you kidding me? Was this
Oh,
supposed to
you
start this
forgot.
week?
You forgot Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
He said both of them. Yeah.
He straight up says, "What's it going to start next week? Maybe this week. Why don't we do it this week?" That was like 2 years ago.
Right. So do the math. What happened 2 years ago? Durham seated grand juries.
Okay.
Okay. You get it? Durham seated grand juries. So everybody thinks that the Kleinsmith, Danchenko, Sussman indictments were the end of Durham. No, that was the beginning. That was the opening salvo. It gave the direction. You showed with Kleinsmith that bias can be leveraged. You showed with Sussman that there was an internal or a domestic piece to this whole mess. And with Danchenko, you showed there was a foreign piece. So you've got leveraged bias, an act of treason, and an act of war. That's what Durham was pointing out the direction to.
I'm going to try to find it to prove myself, but wasn't Durham in the drops as it said something to the sort, I'm paraphrasing, that he didn't want it public. He wanted to keep it private because of the nature of.
Okay, go back to November 5th, 2017. And look at the post there. You get the St. Michael prayer. Right?
Okay, I'm listening.
Do you know Durham's nickname is the avenging angel that took on the FBI?
I did know that.
Okay. What is St. Michael? God's avenging angel.
Okay.
Cast Satan and a third of the stars out of heaven, right? It gets even better. Do you want me to keep going?
Well, yes. And here's look. All I did was search
Durham was the true start. What you have on November 5th is Q telling you Durham was given his commission to start. Sessions appointed him. And we find out the post is November 5th, but he started October 28th.
I'm gonna get us kicked off YouTube. It's kind of mind-blowing. So this whole Durham report came out and everybody thought it was a flop.
No.
Portions were redacted and much has happened behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. I don't believe Durham's over, right?
No, he's not. What did they say? It would confirm future direction. I just gave you the direction. Leveraged bias. That was the flunkies like Kleinsmith who changed an email, which is illegal, to make it look like Carter Page was not an asset for the CIA, which was illegal. In fact, if you go even further into that email, not CIA, Department of State chastised Kleinsmith and said, just like the data we sent you in August, do you need us to go through the packet? Because Pientka sent the original email asking, was he a Department of State asset? And they came back and said, oh yeah, he is. Here's all of our information. Pientka didn't change the email. Kleinsmith did after Pientka is transferred to California. So then Kleinsmith adds the word yes. Actually, he adds the word, he adds not, because the original one said, yes, he is. And he said, is not, is what he added. So he did something illegal with that letter, which is what started this whole thing. That's the Carter Page FISA, which got illegally submitted to the FISC and approved, remember? And I can go into more on that later. But yeah, that's the start of this. So then you speed up and you find out Sussman, remember Alpha Bank? Sussman was cajoled into writing the Alpha Bank report, linking Trump Tower to Russia. But there was another thing they also linked it to. Remember a woman named Betsy DeVos? Her husband runs a healthcare company. So the teachers got involved because the teachers union didn't want Betsy DeVos. So they linked him to it as well, his healthcare company. It all fell on its face. But he was cajoled. If you read the indictment, Sussman was cajoled into writing the report. None of his team believed there was a link. They were all crying foul. So then you go to Danchenko. We find out this is where Cardinal Bethu comes into the picture. The Vatican, right? Who, by the way, had his cardinal cap removed, which in the church hierarchy, the only person that can discipline a cardinal is the Pope. So what did the Pope do? Yeah, give me that back. And made him eligible for tribunals, which he went through a tribunal. So you've got all of this happening in 2017. And then Durham comes out and he says, here's my direction. And he literally is telling you, stay tuned.
Well, and okay, so the drops also say this. Durham is not the only game in town.
He's not. I can go into that one. So when you go back to 2016, after the election, we know that Rogers went up to New York and told Trump about being spied on. Trump immediately moves his entire operation to Bedminster. That was in October. That very same day, not the same day, but at that very same time, you've got the Paramours excited because, well, Mueller was the guy they selected. They thought they controlled him. So you got all of this happening at the same time, right? You've got Rogers goes to New York. Hillary Clinton in November after the election spent a good 4 or 6 hours at the White Plains FBI office. Now it's after the election. Before the election, she was there several times and they said it was for a national security briefing. Why is she there after the election? So when Q says chains have been cut, she's fighting for her life, makes sense? She's being questioned. So look at what happened right after that. January 15th, 2017, the Clinton Global Initiative closes down. 2 weeks later, the Biden Foundation opens up. June 2018, the Biden Foundation closes down. FTX opens up. We find out as we move forward that there is a $6 billion trafficking and porn, internet or cyber porn investigation going on in Delaware. $6 billion. We're talking about millions for Hunter. It's a $6 billion investigation in Delaware. So what do we know about the foundations? The foundations were a vehicle for the money to be laundered through to buy off and blackmail people in this country, to get their initiatives through, lobbying, all of that.
Can I ask you a question?
No.
Well, there's a part of it that makes me feel like your facts are 100. Mm-hmm. That goes without question. Your research is next level. But there's also that level of wordplay that I believe the good guys are doing when Sam Bankman-Fried is the face of FTX.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Right. That seems like a public disclosure type of...
What would a bank man be freed from? If you're running money illegally and you've lost your avenues to launder, both through the Vatican and through the foundations, wouldn't Bitcoin serve that purpose?
Yeah.
Sam Bankman-Fried. Oh, yeah, that could match.
Well, it's just like Bernie Madoff. He made off with all that money.
Madoff.
Why do they look exactly the same?
Well, we can get into that another time.
Well, you talked about tribunals. Can I lead you into more conversation?
Oh, wait, before you're done, the clip you just did. Yeah. If you see what's on my screen, do you see it? mayor of the palace. What is the mayor of the palace? They're the advisors behind the chairs. What did Trump talk about? He mentioned all the chairs. Bush 1, Bush 2, Clinton, Hillary, Obama. He mentioned chairs. What do we know about Durham? He went deeper than that. Hillary is now called beautiful, beautiful angel Hillary, quote, because it's over, meaning her case is done. It's adjudicated. Now it's Crooked Joe because all focus is on his investigation, which we found out a year ago is an actual investigation. It was in a whistleblower testimony.
It's not him. He's shot. Joe Biden doesn't know he's alive. I don't believe it's him.
We're not talking about the heads of the foundation. Here's a good logical question. We always talk about HRC.
Yes.
But the foundation is properly called the Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Foundation. Why don't we ever talk about Bill or Chelsea? It's only Hillary.
I mean, Bill was on the flight logs. Chelsea talks about pizza with her mom on talk shows. Like they have exposed themselves in a way that it looks like it's completely controlled.
I am going to ask you to, and this is what I tell everybody, you got to put your bias on the shelf. And you got to be prepared to have everything you think you know turned upside down. We don't know what the reality is of those stories. Why would we need to off Epstein?
I don't believe we did.
I don't either. But why would that serve the narrative purpose? Why would Epstein tell Ghislaine Maxwell, quote, in all caps, you've done nothing wrong, go take a walk? Could there be another story? Would that be
part of the sting operation? Would that be part of this?
We know that the deep state has used high-end call girls, the play bunnies, right? Hugh Hefner, all of that. And it entrapped people. What I found interesting is Epstein has what they call the Blue Fund. The DHS has what you call the Blue Campaign. And Virginia Giuffre has what you call the Monarch Charity, which is a blue butterfly, blue monarch. Awful lot of blue spreading around there, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So take that the next step. In 2018, Trump signed, I don't remember if it was an executive order or a bill. I think it was a bill that funded part of the military in Texas to work with and mandated they work with DHS on human trafficking. I mean, this stuff is happening. It's been happening. I don't know why anybody doesn't talk about it. Could be why I'm not popular.
You're plenty popular. Have you read the comments?
No.
Everybody absolutely adores you.
Yeah, I paid all of my chat room to do that.
Well, I'm glad they're here because I love your chat room. The one time I got to stop in here recently and hang out with you guys, I had an absolute blast. I wish I had more time to do so.
We wish you were in there more often. It's fun.
Yeah,
you have a
you
good
blow
time.
my mind. Every time we hang out,
But what I'm getting at, the masters in the chairs, one of the things people need to understand is that the chairs, the heads of state, right? In the 14th century, it was the king. The chairs are figureheads. The people that run the government are the advisors in the background. Today, that would be like a Jake Sullivan, Anthony Blinken. Do you see what I'm saying? National Security Council people, CIA. But they're the masters, and all governments have a deep state. This is why Q said, what if China, Russia, and others are working with POTUS to take down the New World Order? How do you get an international component that Durham uncovered with Danchenko? How do you get that taken down? We can't as a country. We need counterparts. We need collaboration. So that gets into Trump's speed tweet from September 2018. When he said, talk to my allies, and they're afraid that basically it's too soon. We're not ready. He said, well, you better hurry up and get ready.
That's what Puggy's saying right now. Puggy, who I absolutely adore. I've just started talking to him, her, I'm not even really sure. But Puggy and I have just started communicating, and Puggy said exactly what I was talking to you about pre-show. I'm gonna have to listen to this again because there's too much for me to absorb in
Oh,
one sitting. That was why I was like, Feisty, I have to slow you down, girl.
yeah, I'm
Because
sorry.
no, because you're so smart and you're so well researched that I think my job with you is to slow it down so that everybody can comprehend.
Your
But
job is
please,
to mute me so you can decode what I said.
I hope everyone goes back and watches Feisty a second time. I hope everybody goes and follows her on
Mhm.
all of her accounts. And I absolutely hope everybody hits the thumbs up and shares this show out because she's completely, at this point, I don't want to say underrated because the people that know she is not underrated. She is highly rated, but she's not seen nearly as much as she should be. And that's the truth.
I
So,
honor you. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, that's
That's
the
so
truth.
nice to say. Let me
Feisty.
tell you something. This stuff, when you see behind the curtain, when you just take a little peek behind there, this entire story is so intriguing on how the three sides of the triangle fit together, how it really is all connected. And I'm watching it being unraveled and have been watching it. And for what it's worth, I didn't get it until after the Zelensky phone call in the summer of 2019. Then it clicked. Then the Hunter Biden laptop came out. It was like, this is bullshit. The whole thing with Hunter Biden laptop was bullshit. Isaac put the subpoena to the grand jury, Delaware grand jury, on his Twitter. If those laptops, the content of those laptops were important to the grand jury, it would have been gagged. What did they say? We don't need it. We got the cloud services. Right. But if the content on that laptop mattered, it would have been gagged. And it's against the law to disrupt a grand jury proceeding. So that would put Giuliani, Banning, Garrett Ziegler, all of them in prison for up to 20 years.
Do you know why I love your research? So I don't want to discredit the amount of research or work that I've done, right? I feel like I've done a lot, but typically I keep it surface level, like Trump's words lined up with the drops, which I line up with current news happenings, and somehow with the in-depth digging that you and your friends do, we've come to the same conclusions. And I've done it just on Trump's words, really.
Yeah, all I can do is give you the background on it.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I absolutely love talking to you. Let me say thank you real quick to a couple people. So MAGA for life with a $5 Rumble rant. Great show, Rambo. So good to see you and Feisty Cat on. Followed her early on when she was on PSB. Where we go one, we go all. Pound us. And then Ruby Red Media, who I see in here all the time. Please go check Ruby Ray out. This comment is just to say I'm listening intently. And then Jen Hayes, she's great. She supports all of our shows. Rambo and Feisty is fire. So thank you guys all very much for supporting the show. Feisty, can I ask you this before we keep going
Sure.
down this road?
Of course.
Why is it you think this is an opinion thing? Why is it you think that so many people don't talk about what we are looking at or even scoff, even OG Anons? Like some people, is it a choice in the way they red pill? Is it that they've been so beaten down through the process that they can't see it anymore? Is it, do you know what I mean? Do you understand?
I think you got a mix of all of it. One of the things that if I go back and I honestly think about what happened to me in 2018 when I got kind of kicked out of the movement, right? Became a persona non grata. I was not buying a lot of narrative. And I was putting it out there, and I had done two things that got the ire of the entire community. I said, what if Hillary threw the election? Oh my goodness, you would have thought I committed treason. Then I said, Mueller's a white hat. And I had people chasing me for years to prove Mueller's a white hat, which I did on air on PSB, and a week later I'm kicked off. So I'm sitting here thinking maybe what I was doing was coming out too early. I don't know. I don't know the answer. But all I know is I've been doing this research. I've been in my own corner all this time doing this research. And most of what Q has put out there, I'm not saying they're invalid posts. They're extremely valid. But some of the story in the Q drops goes back 80s and 90s. I've proven it. I've brought up this information. And I didn't use news articles. I mean, it always makes me laugh when people say fake news, fake news. Did you see what CNN reported? It's like, but you just said it was fake news. I was using FOIA information. I was using, documents that were being released, IG documents, government documents per se. And I just focused on that stuff. Yeah, I would pull in an article now and again. But for the most part, you look at the stuff on my slides, it's pieces of a report. So I didn't go back to 2021. We all got sucker punched when Trump didn't win in November. And it forced me to step back and say, there's got to be more to this. That's why I sent you the link to the washing machine speech in August of 2020. It's like, oh my God. And it got me researching and finding Presidential Directive 51. And I had just started my Telegram in January 2021, and everybody wanted to hear my research. Excuse me, my buds fell out. Everybody wanted to hear my research. And then all of a sudden, I was told to stand down. Well, what is Directive 51? It says Trump is still president, right? So if Trump is still president, they got to replace that narrative. Well, enter devolution. So again, I think I'm jumping their gun. I can't keep these in. Hold on.
Can you hear me while you're doing that?
I'm sorry.
Okay. So there's one thing I stay away from, and you just said it. I usually insinuate and I encourage people to think on their own, but I never really come out and say what I believe. I do that kind of on purpose because there's so many well-researched theories that I don't want to step on toes. I don't believe in divisive nature.
I'm not stepping on the devolution toe, but devolution is subordinate to Directive 51.
Well, that's not what I meant. But what I'm saying is I typically don't say like, I think Trump is president. I think he's commander in chief. I think he's the 19th president. I don't typically make my perspective or view any of those. All I really put out there is that we see that something's happening. Trump has told you these things. Come to your own conclusions, but man, this is weird type of thing. Like that's how I post. Do you think he's still president right now?
I can go back over the timeline of why I think he is. Do you want me to do that?
Sure, let's do
So
it.
we have the washing machine speech. What does he say in the washing machine speech?
Middlemen
don't like me very much, right?
You might not see me for a while.
You might not see me for a while. We followed his plane. He went to Bedminster. He was back at the White House on Monday. So it wasn't then. It didn't dawn on me until after he lost the election. That's what he was getting at. He was letting them steal it. So let me clarify. There's a difference between letting them steal and them stealing. They didn't steal anything. They let them complete the crime, right? So in September of 2020, he puts out there that I told Barr to take the election to the Supreme Court. This is September, 2 months before the election. Then in October, of course, we, through Q, found out Durham was made a special prosecutor. The public didn't find out till November. But Durham was made a special prosecutor in October. October 31st, there's a white horse on Barr's front lawn. Why? Well, if you go to the Capablanca game, right, you will find out that the white knight or the white horse is sacrificed so that a pawn could queen up. Who's the pawn? Durham. He protected Durham's investigation, so Durham queened up. So then go into December, I think it was, where we get just the Q drop. It says Durham, right? I believe that's when he took the case to the Supreme Court. Something happened in February of 2021. Why? Trump is at CPAC, February 28th, 2021. He's on the stage exactly 131 minutes. What makes it notable is he ran off the stage. He kept saying during that speech, what happened at 3:02 in the morning? Nothing. I looked it up to be sure, but the vote count stopped at 3:42, not 3:02. Now go to post 131, and what does it say? Emergency NatSec meeting at 3:02 a.m.
What number was that?
Post 131.
I'm definitely going to get us kicked off YouTube. 131?
Yep.
POTUS NatSec e-briefing 3:02 a.m. Please stand
It's
by.
an emergency briefing? Mm-hmm. Please stand by. So Trump is asking at CPAC, February 28th, 2021, what happened at 3:02 in the morning, literally runs off the stage let me see if I can, I brought the slide in. Unfortunately, with me sharing the screen so you can see it better, I have to scroll till I find it.
It's okay.
There it is. There it is. So in the speech, he says, we know that the rule of law is the ultimate safeguard and reaffirm that the Constitution means exactly what it says, as written. As written, he says. They want to change it. They want to get rid of it, frankly. Well, equal justice under the law, as written. That's a Q post. So I put the text over top the red Punisher, right? Then you look, he's on the stage 131 minutes. He literally runs off. And you got what happened at 3:02 in the morning. He says that during the speech. You got the NatSec briefing. Then the very next post, 697, Panic in D.C. This is February 8th. This is about the time the noise about going after Trump started to speed up.
Escalate, yep.
So, yeah, he spoke at CPAC, and it was his first public appearance since leaving office. That was February 28th. So what's going on? Well, then you find out that Durham sends, what's his name? He's the lawyer for the Seth Rich family. Sends him a letter and says to him, you've got till April 30th to review the evidence file. Well, just so you know, that's called a spoliation letter, right? Spoliation letter, the evidence in a case is not indefinite. The case is, but the evidence you spoil. So he was giving these attorneys who wanted to have a look-see at his evidence file an opportunity to look at what was relevant to their case. I find it interesting that Seth Rich's family lawyer wants to look at what Durham's got.
Right.
Okay. Right after April 30th of 2021, the very next week, we find out Durham's seating grand juries. So what happened? If you can prove the election was stolen, go back to the screenshot put out on OANN, the server snapshot of what really happened and how much Trump won the election by. And it was captured off that server that was captured in Germany on November 9th.
Yeah, and they said Haspel was shot or something.
No,
didn't they?
she wasn't shot.
Well,
People were crazy with it.
Well, do you know what else? The X-37B Space Force plane went up just prior to the election.
Oh, no kidding. It's gone up. It went up in 2022, and it will go up again. It's been going up.
It went up for it went up
900 some days,
and it didn't come down. 908, which is 17, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So 908 days it went up prior to 2020, came down after 2022, and coincidentally, it has taken off again just prior to this election.
Right. Now go back to November of 2022. Trump is doing a speech at Mar-a-Lago. He opens the speech with, hopefully tonight will be historic. That night, and it was delayed coming down, that night one of the spaceships came back down. One of Musk's spaceships came back down. Then we get remember the post on Ascension Island? Or Ascension is all it said. There's an Ascension Island in the Atlantic that is a joint operation between the UK and the United States militaries. It houses Delta 45, and they provide support to Cape Canaveral. You can't make it up.
You can't. You can't. Let me throw a wrench. You ready?
Love them.
So, one of the things that I think everybody kind of grabs onto is hopium is, Gitmo expanded once Trump was president.
It's got a Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Taco Bell.
Right.
Why do you need that for a prisoner?
You don't. And Joe Biden doesn't look like Joe Biden, and we can go through all the clips.
That. We can go all through that, right?
Well, Trump's like the king of narrative seeding, right? He did it in 2020. He told us for months leading up to the 2020 election that it was going to be stolen.
Well, what did he say at the washing machines? We've got one opportunity or one chance to do this, and I'm the only president that can.
Right. So I think that the actual sting was 2016. I think that 2020 was a complete show. However, what I want to show you right now is...
I'm not sure I agree completely, but go ahead.
That's okay. We can talk about that. What I want to show is how often... First of all, Feisty, what's the punishment for treason?
Death?
Right.
Well, no, there's up to death.
Okay. All right. But this is more Donald Trump, in my opinion, narrative seeding so that the public isn't so shocked. He's literally planting this in your mind so that you are more accepting of it when it becomes a reality, which I believe may be coming down the lane.
Pretty soon.
Death penalty. I don't even understand people that don't.
We have to bring back the death penalty. They have to pay the ultimate price.
Death penalty. Bring it forth.
Now they give the death penalty where they give a slight injection so that they don't have pain when the needle goes in to slowly put them to sleep. I mean, these people have to be treated very, very severely, and they're not treated severely.
Very much in favor of the death penalty, especially for terrorists and especially for people that, killers that you see so many where the girls are being killed and then they capture these guys. I am so for the death penalty.
We will believe the right punishment, and we all do, for cop killers is called the death penalty.
Remember the old days, a deserter, what happened? Bang.
He deserted. In the old days when we were a strong country, it would be boom, gone.
Spies in the old days used to be executed.
Bing, and it goes quickly, right? It's called you're dead. Treason. It's treason. You don't even hear that word. It's treason.
In the old days, boom, firing squad. No, it's true. I love the Second Amendment.
Somebody said the other day, well, he had some psychological problems. Well, in the old days, bing, bong. When we were strong.
The drug dealers, the drug pushers, they're really doing damage. Some countries have a very, very tough penalty, the ultimate penalty.
They don't have a big drug problem in China. They have a thing called the death penalty. In China, if you're selling drugs, it's death. It's the death penalty.
I said, Mr. President, do you have a drug problem? No, we do not. I said, big country, 1.4 billion people, right? Not much of a drug problem. I said, what do you attribute that to? Well, the death penalty. So, death penalty. We give death penalty to people that sell drugs.
Death penalty. Quick trial.
Death penalty. That's it.
Unless you have really, really powerful penalties led by the death penalty for the really bad pushers and abusers, we are going to get nowhere. I'm also directing the Department of Justice to propose legislation ensuring that those who commit hate crimes and mass murders face the death penalty, and that this capital punishment be delivered quickly, decisively, and without years of needless delay.
Immediately, with trial, get the death penalty, but quickly. The trial should go fast.
Rapidly as possible, not
15 years later, 20 years later, get the death penalty.
They should get the death penalty, and they shouldn't have to wait years and years. Bring back the death penalty. They ought to give them a quick trial, and they ought to absolutely execute this maniac. Again, the words.
All right. I think you get the point. I love him.
So if you remember, back in July of 2018, we get a Q drop, and it's McStain with his hands up.
Oh, do you have it?
Yeah, look at the screen. Okay, exactly a month later, he's bing bonged. And we have enough. You can't kill him twice, according to his daughter. Just
Right.
days ago.
Yeah, just 24 hours since he was put to death, said Koshik.
Yes. So what are they getting at here? He went through a military tribunal. In a military tribunal, if you're found guilty and the penalty is death, it goes through an automatic 30-day review. It was 30 days later, August 27th.
Done in 30.
Mm-hmm. So then that reminded me of Hillary Clinton with the Benghazi hearing.
That's every dog has its day proof too, right? The next day was International Dog Day.
The day he died is International Dog Day. So then I'm thinking, this looks familiar, right? That's Hillary Clinton at the hearing. She's in green. She said, at this point, what difference does it make regarding the Benghazi situation? Her hands are up. What did Q say? HRC was a puppet, but her strings were recently cut. She's now on her own and fighting for her life.
Oh, wow. So I sat with
And this
Brian.
is on the heels of Trump tweeting out, now that it's been proven false, when do the treason trials start?
I want to tell you, I was sitting with Brian Cates the other day here on the show, and he had a really interesting date fag, right? So it's a date fag, but it intrigued me. So, drop, it's not even number one. Drop not numbered, not signed by
the unnumbered drop, right?
Yes, the Hillary Clinton will be arrested drop. He has a theory where we're kind of looking at the drops countdown in reverse, as it does seem that way for a whole bunch of future-proof past type moments that we're watching. And he seems to think that it would be quite the red pill for that Delta to hit.
Right. It would be. But let me give you a little more information. Remember, I was saying before that after the election in November, Hillary went to the White Plains FBI field office. She was there for hours. It was the rage on Twitter at the time, by the way. If she got arrested then, it would fit the strings have recently cut, she's fighting for her life. The Clinton Foundation closed a month later or a month and a half later. So if this is the case, I would like to know what she was doing at the FBI field office after the election. It's not a security briefing. She didn't make it. She wasn't president. Why is she there? So I actually think the Q post is real.
Mines are going to blow, Feisty.
Well, speed ahead. I don't remember exactly when it was, but the 5th floor of the DC courthouse shut down one day. And we find out that Hillary was there at a hearing. And she put out an attestation was put out that everything she said was true. She's a witness now. So then speed up to the Clinton Foundation. We have the Clinton Foundation whistleblowers. What did they find? It's not about the Clintons. This is about the money, the big business, big banks, money to elite, the money from the foreign people being brought in through the foundations to fund whatever it is they want to fund.
Feisty, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that around the same time Huma was wearing a medical boot?
Yeah.
That's so funny to me. There was like a whole pile of them wearing medical boots at that point.
And I see the medical boots is not necessarily maybe detained, but which Hillary was, right? But having to provide testimony.
Right. Okay. So for anybody that isn't aware, if you are under indictment in a grand jury, it is a felony for you to talk about it publicly.
Right.
So there is no way, unless someone committed a felony to do so, which they're already facing enough problems as it is. They don't want more.
Disruption of a grand jury investigation is 20 years.
Yeah, they don't want 20 more years on what
Can you
they're
imagine?
already going
Well,
through.
I don't know if they get the death penalty. What's 20 years? Right? That may be their preferred route. I don't know.
I'll take 20 years if you don't bing bang me.
If you don't bing bong me, right?
It's so funny. Oh boy. So how many do we think? I don't even know where to go. We are in the disclosure phase, right? So what you
Yes.
believe is that the same thing that I believe. We're watching a cover. Joe Biden. Yeah, I love it's the Joe Biden, the fake Joe Biden indictments. I don't know where to put the comma, whether it's fake Joe Biden, comma, indictments or fake, comma, Joe Biden
I
indictment.
think the fake, no, Joe Biden, comma, fake indictments. Because if Joe is a Manchurian, which by all accounts he is, if you want to
Trump's
consider
told you.
him legitimate, go right ahead. But he's a Manchurian. I showed you the chair and master. He's not running this government. Obviously, those that handle him don't have a good handle on him. But the whoever put that together is not Joe Biden. It's the people behind him. Why? Because there will come a time where it will no longer be safe for them to walk down the street. They're fighting for their life.
All right. You said you had a hard time listening to this one when I played it for your pre-show.
Yeah.
So pay close attention, everybody. I'm hoping the sound is good. But this is Donald Trump telling you pre-2020 election that Joe Biden was in his basement because he had to talk to his lawyers because he was caught cold.
Mm-hmm.
Basement all day. But I think today he's staying in the basement to talk to his lawyers. They caught him cold. They caught him cold.
Yeah. Crooked Joe.
Poor Joe. And what's crazy to me is that
Well, I love the caught him cold part.
yeah.
He's shocked. He's cold. He's whatever, right?
And everyone's just buying the narrative coming out of the fake mainstream media about the fake indictments and the fake trials and the fake Joe Biden.
I can't help that. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm watching all of that. Every single one of the people involved are compromised. We already know that. But if you know the Q post, maybe someday people will understand that they had another mass extinction event planned. And then another Q post where it says, if you knew, could you live with yourself if there was an easy way out? I think Jack Smith took the easy way out. 30 years or come back and go after Trump. And what is he doing? He's destroying himself. What is political suicide? Isn't the same suicide weekend could be physical as well as political, right? At some point, it would no longer be safe for them to walk down the street. So I'm not even looking for the body count to rise, but I am looking forward to the suicide weekend being when there's so much of the narrative out there that it'll be irrefutable for those that just don't get it.
It's awesome. Did you happen to see my dig on I likened, well, so Donald Trump has pointed out General Patton so many times, right? At rallies.
Oh, yes.
So General Patton, and then just recently, about a month ago, the Ghost Army got recognition.
Isn't that great?
It's beautiful, right? And it instantly triggered a switch in my head. And I'm like, well, you know, General Patton had his Ghost Army, who we're now recognizing. Donald Trump has recognized General Patton, I'm sorry, at how many rallies?
Right. Remember the Q post? There's a Q post with at Fort Bragg with the There's a bunch of uniformed men standing in the shape of a Q. And if you look inside that formation, there are people in civilian clothes.
Yes.
Gee, that looks like it could be a ghost army.
Well, think about it. So if Patton had his ghost army, I believe Trump has his ghost 46.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, that's why the hat says 45-47.
Yeah, isn't that interesting way of putting 12 years of presidency?
Okay, so how do you think that that's possible? Because everybody, the normies, the people that don't dig this much and can't grasp, right? So Donald Trump told us that Article 2 of the Constitution gives him absolute authority, I believe is the wording. Don't quote me, but I think that's what it was off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So if he has absolute authority through Article 2 of the Constitution, that's where I start to go when people ask me, well, you know, the Constitution says we can only have 2 terms. So how is it?
Okay, first, before you go that far, understand what brought that amendment into play. FDR had already he was in his 3rd term. When he died, they didn't walk. They ran to the well of Congress to limit him.
Okay.
Right? So we have the limits. Now, I know where you're going. How could Trump exceed that amendment to the Constitution? Well, remember a certain soundbite where Trump said, we're sort of in my 2nd term. I just didn't want the results. Right?
Yeah.
We haven't fixed the 2020. And I know for a fact they got to be fixing the 2020 because a lot of things that have come out about the 2020 still haven't been really made public. Right? We've seen courts overturn legislative, rule change actions because they weren't put through by the legislatures. There's all kinds of things happening surrounding the 2020, yet we haven't had resolution on the 2020. That's a major RICO, by the way. We know something happened in 2021 with Durham. So if you talk about what you know, then what if, and this is my working theory, so I'll caveat that, but what if Trump is the president right now under the guise of Biden? Supreme Court comes out and says, we're going to overturn and we're going to take a pause. The country needs to heal. What if there's not a 2024? Flynn has said it. Several people have said it after we started talking about it. But what if there isn't a 2024?
I don't believe that there's any way. I want to go back to where you push back on me when we're done this, because I find it interesting that we have differing opinions on that. There's no way that I believe 2020 was allowed to be stolen, that we can have a traditional 2024 election.
Not when you know that the 2022 put the 2020 on steroids.
Right.
Right.
For sure.
One of the things that I figured out, I went and looked at several Supreme Court cases with regards to RICO, and they're very explicit about a RICO being more than a one-off. It has to show a pattern in practice. It's got to be something that demonstrates that the criminality is likely to continue. So if you've got the 18, 20, and 22, you've demonstrated that RICO requirement. They stole, and go back into the Post, they stole the house. Q said, we let them. That what was important was to keep the Senate. Go back to the 2016. What did we find out? They made sure that the battleground states weren't stolen. Kind of sounds like a repeat that they did in the 2018. Make sure they didn't steal the Senate. So they knew what was going on. They collected that data. If you got the 18, 20, and 20, 18, 20, and 22 data, you've got a perfect record. What did we find out from Mary Fanning? We've got the data right down to the MAC addresses, which is a unique address for every device, right? So they not only have the data, they know the device behind the data, hence the person that owns the device.
Your boy Death gifted a $5 Rumble rant. First of all, thank you. But he asked a question, Feisty. Is Trump's arrest the one that would shock the world?
We've been talking about that in my Telegram channel for like the last week. it is obvious that Trump is saying, hey, come get me. I'm not going to play your gag order. So what is happening next week is the immunity case. That's next Thursday, by the way. If he goes to the Supreme Court, doesn't show up at the court case, he's begging the judge to arrest him. First arrest shocked the world. Now think about this. When you think of As the World Turns, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? The death of JFK? Remember, they interrupted As the World Turns to announce he had been shot?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. It was, what's his face? Yep.
So I don't know what programming they're going to interrupt, but can you imagine them interrupting programming to say that the president of the United States got arrested?
But okay. But here's the thing. Even if it happens, I think that Trump confirms what you just said prior to that. Hold on, listen.
Person never got indicted when my numbers went up. It's a weird. That's because you know me. I didn't take a salary. I worked my ass off, and we did a phenomenal job. We did a phenomenal job for this country. But for the first time ever, I never thought they indict their political opponent. And what that does is it sets off a chain of events that's very dangerous in future years. It could happen to them very easily. The reason Crooked Joe and his thugs are trying so hard to stop me is that in my first term, I disrupted all of it. Oh, did I disrupt? That was called major disruption.
That's key, by the way.
Term, which we're sort of having now, but I don't want the results, right? Person never got indicted when my numbers went up. It's a weird.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that.
I didn't take a salary.
He laid it right out for you, didn't he?
Off.
He lays it right out. Perfect.
He tells everyone to their faces. So even if Donald Trump is arrested, now you all know why I will be like crossed arms, feet up.
Actually, right. I'm going to have a party.
Right. I have local stuff I have to go deal with because I am aware of what this process was for. And that was to motivate us to get up and stand up and fight back from the ground up. So I'm going to go do that.
What did Q say? Bring the rain, you'll know when.
Right. General Flynn told you local action equals national impact.
Right.
So there's no question in my mind, Feisty. We are watching a top-down operation play out. Our role is to fight from the ground up. So if we go fight from the ground up, nothing can stop what is coming. Right. I'm sorry to be cliche and use the line,
but we are all in this together, right? So, and if you see these numbers, all you have to do is look at a Trump rally. The numbers are exponentially increasing, right?
Yep.
So they arrest Trump, even if they don't understand the story behind the story. That's earth-shattering. It's gonna, the media will salivate over, we got him. And the blowback will begin.
Yeah, you can say that your research or my research or any other anon that aligns with us as research is fake and gay all you want, except for that the results are not telling the same story. Right. They're proving us right every day more and more.
Which is kind of cool.
It's awesome. I'm hoping that we get all types of what's the word? Not vindication, but
validation.
Validation. I hope that people understand that the research and our discernment was on point, and we get a little bit of credit for that.
Over the target is what.
Rather than being looked at as the crazy conspiracy theorists that are like.
I'm gonna miss that title though. I like being called batshit crazy.
I love that we own it fearlessly.
I have no problem. I can't wear the thing that holds all of those medals because it's too big. I adore every single pejorative that's been levied at me. I think it's great. These people can do whatever they want. I don't even care. But the fact of the matter is, I've got research that when I look at what's going on today, it's like, well, that fits right into this. That fits right into this. How do you connect so many dots and be wrong?
So these two comments make me think, Feisty. I do believe that there is at least an aspect of the drops and the messaging so that we don't go into some sort of kinetic civil war or whatever you might want to call it.
Trust
So
in humanity, have faith in humanity. There's more good than bad.
So I don't think that that's necessarily to. I know the drops weren't to pacify us; they were to motivate us. If you read the drops, it's blatantly obvious. It talks
we
about
needed
unity.
the background information for when we bring the rain.
Yes, it tells you to fight. It tells you to vote. It tells you it is completely the opposite of Operation Trust, right? The Bolshevik Revolution. It couldn't be more opposite for somebody that actually goes and reads the drops and doesn't listen.
In Operation Trust, I am sure they did not tell the people, it is our hope that there will be enough here to make meaningful impact. Right? That's a Q drop.
Yeah.
So I don't care what people think of the movement. Most of us were wrong on a lot of things, but those drops are real. And there is mis and disinformation in there, but you would only know that if you'd done the background research.
But what my question for you would be, in your opinion, at what point can they push us too far? So
I think that's what's happening now. You're seeing a lot of people are tired. You're seeing infighting going on in the movement. I think it all serves a purpose, but people are tired, and you're seeing it more and more. People are exhausted. And I'm absolutely positive that when they do these, temperature checks of what's going on in the population.
They absolutely are too.
Right. You see Dan Scavino putting out hopium.
Yeah.
You see El Donato putting out hopium. And I'm not saying they're lying to you. All I'm saying is it serves a purpose to keep us going. We get a little nugget. Trump is sending too many messages in too many successive rallies for that to be, oh, I just feel like telling you about it. He's trying to get to somebody to say, hey, there's more going on here. Keep watching. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. So don't anybody get all emotional about it, because I don't really care what your opinion is on somebody. Because we're in a state of fifth generation warfare, I think that everybody's information is imperative and intentional. But I got a message. So Dr. Jan kind of went missing for a little bit, and she's back. So I don't think that that's by accident.
Mm-mm.
Right. So again, I don't care what your opinion is of what she puts out.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
It really does not matter.
Yeah. I found it interesting though when I saw that. So it was like, there's just something to ponder.
Joe, I'm sorry. Give me a second. I've got to get some water. I forgot to bring it in. Let me go
ahead.
grab it.
Go ahead. Take your time. Absolutely.
Keep talking to everybody. I'll be right back.
I can do that. I'll even play a clip. I'm good at that. So what I'm getting at with that whole thing is I do wonder what like the breaking point is, right? So we are American, right? So our roots are not a pacified type of roots. We are the type that like started a civil war over a small tax on tea, right? So I don't think that America is going to stand down forever. And I think what Feisty was talking about with those temperature checks is exactly what I meant. And I don't believe that should the quote unquote good guys be in control, as I think they are, that they would allow it to get to a point where there was an all out civil kinetic war going on in this country. I think that we will be pushed to our limits, and we may see some of it, but I think that we are being pushed to that line. So that was why I asked Feisty what she believed. Do we still trust Chris Wray? My opinion, which is only my opinion, is that I absolutely do trust Chris Wray, but I'm the type of guy that thinks that Mike Pence did exactly what he was supposed to do. I think that Bill Barr said things that he was. Look, when Barr stands up there and tells you we are in a live exercise, and Donald Trump stands next to him and says, you should have told us. I'm not the type to believes that to be a natural conversation. What I think I was looking at was messaging, right? Same as Barack Obama saying, if I could have an earpiece and sit in my basement and have a third term, and I would tell Joe Biden, who we think is not real, that what to do. what they were doing was leading you by your emotions into believing something was happening so that you would stand up and save your country. So I don't mean to like out them, except for that messaging is intentional. So back to the original question, do I trust Ray? I don't know that it matters. I don't know that he's a good guy, a bad guy, a white hat, a black hat, or a gray hat, but it's part of the movie. And I think that's the part that matters. Hi, USMC wife. I didn't even get to do a clip. See, I talk too much, Feisty.
That's okay. I got water.
Welcome everybody that's in here. There's a whole ton of you on Twitter, and there's a whole bunch of you over here in Rumble on YouTube. If you guys could hit that positive affirmation, the thumbs up on and any of the platforms you're on, or share it out, please feel free to jump into the comments and let us know what you're thinking. I am watching them. It's Kay. I didn't realize that. Hi, Kay. How are you, girl? Do you want me to play another clip?
Go right ahead.
I don't even know which one this is. I pulled a bunch today just to have, because I love hanging out with you and I love hearing what you have to say. Let's see which one this is.
Because I'm running for president and leading big in all the polls. I mean, when the New York Times has this front page story tomorrow, you'll see it just came out that Trump is killing this guy. They're not happy, I guess. Maybe they are happy.
First of all, he talked about, I know he said it was a story from the New York Times, but I always find it interesting going back to your Whirlpool or whatever it was.
Maytag. Or no, Whirlpool.
Yeah, it was Whirlpool. So going back to the Whirlpool speech where he talked about, you might not see me for a while. I always find it interesting when he talks about himself in third person.
Mm-hmm.
So when he says Trump is killing this guy, first I think doublespeak. He's actually, let's go back to the death penalty quotes. I'm starting to think that connects. And when he talks about himself in third person, I think, am I looking at Trump for real? I mean, you would have to be kind of blind to think that they don't all have bodies.
I don't know. To me, I don't see a difference. I know people are talking about it. I haven't noticed that difference. But I do think El Donato and Trump are one and the same.
Oh, explain that.
I just think they're one and the same.
El Donato?
You know, Poppy Trump.
Okay.
I think they're one and the same.
That's
Trump on Twitter without being on Twitter, right? Or X. Excuse me, I keep saying that wrong.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, I caught up. I thought that in the beginning, and I kind of let the thought go. It's interesting that you say that.
Well, what about the Christmas picture of him at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, does it matter? What we're getting, I think, as well as all this negative crap that's going on, you've got people seeding the positive. And we need that. You need a bit of both. And if you're going to take the positive, I mean, when Trump says we've got one chance and I'm the only president that can do it, and then he loses the election and goes bye-bye, does that make sense to you?
No.
Right.
Yeah, but none of that made sense. He left with the football. He didn't attend the inauguration.
Well, no. Right. Back up with the football. Because Biden also got a football. There's video of that too.
But the mainstream media story was that Trump left with it, and then
he's supposed to. You can't have it go down. So he left for Mar-a-Lago with the full football as president. When Biden took the oath, a football was brought to him. It's not the same football. All it is a set of codes, right?
But
here's one to start the other.
But here's the fifth generation warfare part of it. Trump not attending the ceremony made it a conversation.
A lot of people question that, including me too. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, I saw a picture where it looks like he's standing in the back directing traffic, like a movie director. But what I'm saying is the conversation was started because it's unprecedented. Just like everything we're seeing, it never happened.
Isn't it unprecedented that Kamala takes the oath first?
Or that he was done early?
Or he was done early. Oh my goodness.
Or the gun salute.
I showed you those clips, didn't I? I pulled together all the clips. Didn't I give them to you? I'll give them to you.
Do that. I'll post them.
Because I've got the clips from when Trump came in and when Biden comes in. Biden got a funeral gun salute.
Yes. Yeah, that's without question at this point.
It's no doubt. And it didn't happen on the mall. It happened at Arlington Cemetery. I mean,
that's so funny, right? It's not like it's a secret anymore. Everyone talks about it.
I've got all the clips. I'll send them to you so you can have fun with them. But
let me say thank you to Kay. Kay from That Thing of Ours, who comes on this show. I've been over there with them. Please go follow their show. She gifted a $10 Rumble rant. She said, "Love you" from That Thing of Ours. I absolutely adore all you guys. I love you too. Thank you. Yeah, it's just interesting. So how do you see, if you had to guess, because I don't think any one of us could possibly figure this out, how do you see the rest of this playing out?
Well, haven't you noticed that coinciding with everything that we're watching on the weaponized government side of the triangle, there's an economy crashing.
Yeah.
You know it is. And we know what's coming in. We're going from a debt-based to an asset-based economy. Isn't it interesting that it's all happening at the same time? So there's a Q post, several of them, where it says Saudi Arabia arrow, U.S. arrow, Asia, and right in the line of process.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia joined the BRICS. So what does the U.S. move? Well, we know that stablecoin legislation is on its way. No, we're not going to a CBDC. Sorry for all of those that are, hyperventilating over that. Yeah. But we know that stablecoin legislation is on its way. We know that besides the Lummis Gillibrand bill that they put out announced the other day, we know that there's stablecoin legislation that got marked up in July of 2023 and voted out of committee. So we're ready. What I am watching, which I think is kind of cool, is kind of a redux of 2008. What did Powell do? Not Powell, Bernanke do. He went in and he said, hey, we got 2 hours and the economy's done. And it scared Congress into signing in the bailouts, right? They passed the bailouts into law. So the economy's crashing. Hey, we got 2 hours. The economy's done. We'll get the stablecoin legislation. U.S. move. And then with what's happening with Asia, you got China and Russia both saying they're ready with their cross-border transfers. They're both ready. This is a worldwide operation. The BRICS are Operation Sandman. We're waiting on it, but they were collectively all at once going to drop the U.S. dollar to ultimately do the final death knell to the American dollar, to crash it. So if we're waiting on Operation Sandman, which is, the ICE event, icing out the U.S. dollar, and we know that we got stablecoin legislation, and then we know the EU said that they will have their stablecoin legislation by the time they go to their summer break. I find it interesting. And it's all happening right now, where the extreme chatter is literally off the charts, right? And why would you have that? Well, for people who don't understand what's going on the money side of things, they don't want you panicking. They don't want a bank run. Trump talked about the panic of 1873. How many times in his rallies? Go look it up. What was it? It was a railroad bond issue in the eastern part of Europe that was tanking our banks and Wall Street. It's interesting that he would bring that up. What are we tanking right now? The bonds.
I love seeing your crew in here because they preempt all the things that I know that you stand for. So you believe that XRP is kind of like the hot ticket right now, right?
I believe that is the international token that will be used for cross borders. Yes.
So
it's not the U.S. stablecoin.
How do you feel about silver?
I think if you can, you should be in as many hard assets as possible. I have some. I wish I could have more. I'm old and broke. Okay, I don't have a lot of money.
Let me make us safe when we say this. We are not. neither
I'm
Feisty
not.
or
I'm not getting any financial
financial
advice.
advisors, right? We are not.
No.
We are giving opinion on what we have.
But I kind of like being at the train station when a train comes in versus being at the dock at the the shipyard when the train comes in. I kind of like being on the right side of history here.
Well, okay, so like Ruby Red just said this,
Nation to nation. It's
nation to
cross-border
nation,
transfer.
and that's what you're talking about. So my question is, does that translate to wealth for an individual if they were to purchase XRP?
Well, let me give you some background. Okay, I can't take hours to go through that whole story, but there was a time. Now Brad Garlinghouse is the CEO of Ripple. He said a long time ago that the banks would literally come kicking and screaming to the table, that they would resist this new system, but they would come kicking and screaming. When you understand that the banks are the most regulated entity on the planet, right? And they're getting hit with all this funny money stuff going on with these huge billion-dollar fines. What did they need? They needed some assurance that this new system would work. Enter retail. This is where anybody that has XRP, we were actually proving the system worked. When they did the and it's Accenture that did the due diligence on Ripple. Accenture, a federal contractor, by the way, did the due diligence on Ripple. Part of this was because they needed a sense that the system is real, that the company is real, that this all works. So the fact that they used retail, and we're sending money overseas, we're doing the trading like we always do. We proved it works. So if you happen to have any, it's a thank you. Are they worried about us getting rich? No. Why? Because we're upending the system. It isn't going to be the top down. And all you have to do is go look at the US debt clock. I mean, now they even started a Twitter. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
They started a Twitter. But they're explaining it every day. They put up new pictures. But we're going from an asset-backed to a debt-based to an asset-backed currency. And if you go look, you will see gold is going off the charts. Every time the dollar goes down, gold goes up, right? It's doing well.
I want to answer your boy Depp on this question. So one thing that bugs me, if Trump is still POTUS, how is he going to allow the alien invasion? So I don't know if you know Feisty, but Smart Paul and JFNon absolutely believe that is going to. I can parallel it to this. I think that it may not be aliens, right? But I think that they're right, that there has to be a precipice moment, right? So I don't know if it's aliens. I don't know if it's a World War III moment. I don't know if it's complete and utter financial collapse, but something of that nature, I don't think is out of the realm of reality at this point, not even possibility. I think something's going to happen. So the question is similar to one I get about everything, the border, J6ers, right? So how is it that the good guys are in control, or Donald Trump could be president if these bad things are happening to us?
Are they?
Well, okay, so that's a great question. How does it make you feel? I think is another great question.
What is first of all, if you're living in an illusion, then everything's about perception, right? I'm sorry, but I've seen too many things from 2021 that say the border is under a lot more control than people think.
So your boy Death is talking. He said specifically he's talking about, when he says aliens, he means the southern border. So you don't want to get me started on the southern border.
Well, look, it just came out. Oh God, when did it come out? Just a few days ago, I guess, that there are a bunch of aliens that are living in a hotel. And they came out saying, we're told when we can leave, when we can't leave. We're told what to eat, what we can't eat.
Of course they are.
Everything is being controlled.
I'm gonna go even further. So I don't care. I don't care what people think about me, about my theory. This is one thing that I have dug into very, very deeply. I looked all the way back into Obama's presidency. When I tell you this, it is something that I believe wholeheartedly. our border was a major issue when Donald Trump came into office in 2016. We have had mass immigration into this country for decades intentionally. The
Since
reason that
1986.
the reason that none of us talked about it is because that we weren't told. Liken it to this: COVID-19 hit this country, and what did you see every time you turned on your TV? It was a death counter, and every one of you, including myself, went and we stood in line 6 feet apart with a stupid mask on. We pushed buttons on an AT or on a when we paid our bill on something covered in plastic, like that was going to do anything. We were all touching the same plastic, but we were also feared up because they amplified a message. Right. And that amplified message goes back to the question: how does it
Made you
make
very compliant when it came to a vaccine?
we all were on hyper alert because we had an amplified message being pumped into our brains. So take that and translate it to our southern border, which has no different an issue than it has for the last freaking 80 years. So I'm not saying that there isn't a real issue at our border. There is. There's real human trafficking. There's real drug trafficking. There's real. But when they start putting the cameras on underwear hanging in a tree,
Right.
when they set up a military base in Texas and they have the migrants only cross there and not the open doors all the way down the river, when they are having Donald Trump go and meet with those people while Biden goes to some ghost town, southern border.
That was actually an important, by the way, that was an important meeting that Biden went to. That was the last visit Trump took to the border when he was president, was in that same place.
Which is a huge
Which was totally locked down, by the way.
Yeah, and it's a complete cosign to what I'm saying. What we're being fed is messaging, right? So that we get pissed off, so that it grabs you by your emotions, and you look. What? Hold on a second. I mean, it's all summed up in this one freaking my favorite ever Donald Trump clip. Hold on. So, what does it make you do? Like, everyone will agree with us because we will see how bad they've done. So what is going to happen from all the messaging of the real issues that we have at the border? We are all going to agree, and they are going to close the border. And not only that, but it's not the only thing that's happening down there. Anybody that doesn't realize or doesn't know somebody that's in boot camp right now, 70%, give or take, is migrants. This was a contingency plan. So they're coming across and they're putting ankle bracelets on them. You're getting reports that people are in hotels and they're being told when they can and can't leave. Look, I'm not telling you that some of these cities aren't being overrun, but are they being overrun more than they already were? I don't believe so. I think that what you're being told is cameras are on them now. Look, do you think that police officers weren't beat up or shot before? Because they were. Do you think that there wasn't migrant crime before? Because there was. All of these things were already existing problems. So the messaging is being amplified to a point where we are all talking about it and realizing that there's a freaking problem. Well, the problem already existed.
Can I jump in?
Please.
Okay. 1986, there was a piece of legislation passed. It was called IRCA, Immigration Reform and Control Act. They only got it through because Reagan agreed to allow 3 million, at the time, 3 million illegals to be legal residents while they went through the process of getting their visas. 10 years later, that got revoked by a Democrat Congress in 1996. It immediately made all of these people that were given legal presence illegal. 10 years after that, in 2006, it got reversed and we were allowed to use expired documents to prove citizenship. I know this was my world. 2008, they tried to pass immigration reform. It included a component called E-Verify. It tanked. Why? Because E-Verify is real-time testing of your visas and your social security cards. Okay. And in some states, your driver's license, if they're paired up. We've had this issue since day one in 1986, number
Yep.
one. Number two, what they've done is they've abused the refugee and asylee programs. That's one of the biggest abuses in the system, are not the people physically crossing, but the abuse of the refugee and asylee programs. Most of these people that are coming across and allowed to stay are asylees, right? And all they had to say is, I feel threatened. And we still don't vet them. So, but then take a look at, you mentioned ankle monitors. They also got cell phones. Neat way to GPS them.
And
they also got $10,000 EBT cards.
Thank you.
What's the best way to track somebody? Follow the money.
Yep.
I'm sitting here going, and then we not only that, this gets fun. I'm sorry.
It does.
We watched planes go from El Paso to Gitmo. Goodbye, Coyote.
Can I add? Let me know when you're done. I want to add to this.
I'm done. I had to throw that in.
So anybody that believes that our military is any less than the greatest on the planet is fooling themselves, and I have a bridge in Baltimore to sell you. So,
no, you don't. It collapsed last week.
Oh, my bad. But here's my point. We are watching. So if you can already start to buy into the fact that what we're watching with Joe Biden is a psyop.
Right.
I understand that what they're pumping into your head from the news is difficult to get past because it looks real, right? Trump's really in court, blah, blah, blah. Donald Trump is cool as a cucumber.
He looks so stressed, doesn't he?
Not at all. Southern border is 100% military intelligence operation at its finest. And if you think that that's defined by one point, you would be fooling yourself again. There's multiple things happening at that border. First and foremost is the optics. It's to do exactly what I was just talking about before, which is grab you by your heartstrings and get you upset, pissed off, and motivated to do something about it, right? Second of all, it's a contingency plan. When you you install someone that is such a red pill because they are destroying our country, as the guy wearing a mask named Joe Biden, who was shot, it's not him, he's not alive, then you would have already, as military intelligence would know, you would have a shortfalls in enlistment numbers. That is, if you stand back and you protect your mind and control your emotions about that, you would realize that that is an absolute strategic plan. They know that me and you and everyone else isn't going to want to send their children to go fight for the communist UN, Joe Biden, whatever it is that's in charge, Barack Obama in his basement telling him what to do, right? So if they knew that was coming, what a better plan than to take an already existing issue, spotlight the shit out of it, use some of those people, the good ones. They're absolutely being vetted. Why do you think military age males are the ones coming across? And that's the message being told to you so that you think you're being invaded. Donald Trump said, what are we building, a little army?
He did say that.
Well, that time he said it the first time, he said there was 16,000 immigrants that came across. Do you know what our exact enlistment shortfalls were that year, 2023? Exactly. 16,000. So yes, the issues exist. Yes, the drugs exist. Yes, some of the messaging, if you guys don't realize that it was a photo op that they shipped them to Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, that was hysterical.
Right. Do you know where, if anybody followed it after that, where did they go? They went to military bases. They went to military bases. It was a freaking photo op. So they shipped them to Martha's Vineyard. Thank you, Ron DeSantis. And then they show up there and everyone goes, we don't want to keep migrants in our houses. And then they ship them to military bases. Are we this emotional that we can't put it together?
But to be very honest about the whole word precipice, and we've actually talked about this in my Telegram a few times. I don't know that a precipice is a one thing. I think all of us reach our own precipice, for lack of a better word, right? It's emotional, it's physical, it's geopolitical. Do you see what I'm saying? We all have our breaking point, which is what a precipice is, right? Your breaking point, which is why I think they're out there constantly tapping the pulse of the psyche of the population.
And go back to Christopher Miller and Ezra Cohen Watnick when they basically told you that we're watching the most complex military operations this country's
Operation at
ever
all
seen.
time. Mr. President or Vice President, for your steadfast leadership.
It's so awesome. I'm so excited to watch this. I wish everybody would come hang out with us on this show so they could like figure out that this is like really fun to watch.
I have not been. I have actually been very, very, and I'm not a Pollyanna, right? I'm not a rosy sunglasses kind of person, but I've been sitting here for ages. I'm sorry about that. I've been sitting here for ages going, this is so cool. This plan is actually genius.
It's genius.
When you start seeing how they're doing this here and that there, you could feel the orchestration. You can feel how it's all being unwebbed together. When Q said it's all connected, we're deconstructing it all together. This is super, super, super exciting. It is the most intriguing story I've ever followed. I am so glad I've been a part of this movement this whole time.
Did you see Netanyahu come out and say war games?
War games, right?
People get their feelings hurt on that one.
Another thing people don't get is follow the machinery that is supposedly being used. That's usually the mix, I guess, commercial for the next latest and greatest. Why are we sending Abrams to UK when we haven't used tanks? Why did we send one plane when they're ready to sell a new plane? I mean, people are missing the signals. And this whole Israel thing, they're doing the same thing there that they did in Ukraine with fake war footage. So, I mean, just step back. And I'm not saying there isn't something happening.
Yeah, because people get their feelings hurt.
It's being amplified beyond reality.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So hold on. So this was the clip I was looking for when we were talking about. Look, if there's 125 seconds that 34 seconds, I'm sorry, rather, that sums up everything about what we're watching, it is this clip. That's why it's pinned to the top of my page, because I believe that he tells you exactly the whole operation in 34 seconds. It's got 28 million views. It's got 28 million views for a reason. I'll play it again. I've played it 3 million times, and I'll play it 3 million more because I believe it sums up everything we're watching.
And one of the beautiful things of the pause, if there is such a thing as a beautiful thing, but one of the important factors of the pause is that we see how bad they've done. So we will be able to do it properly, and it will be much easier. Everybody will agree with us because everybody sees what a bad job has been done during this 2-year period, and it will be a 4-year period. Everybody sees that. It will be much easier for us to do what has to be done. And
Donald Trump just told you exactly what the drops did. You have to walk through the darkness before you can see the light. Everybody, how do you show the public? You can't just tell them. It is literally, he just summed up all of my favorite Q posts that told us.
He also said summer that they had hoped it would be over sooner.
Yes. So here's my reasoning for that, because he said multiple times, I don't know that it takes a year. I don't think it'll be a year. He said many things like that. I think personally that was because you can go back to his other quotes when he says they're really the ones that are under investigation. Well, Q told us that it all had to be legal. It all had to be legit. It had to be by the book. So if that's the case, I think that when he said, I don't think it'll take a year, I think that's what he was talking about. The length of these legal processes. That's my opinion. So I think
the other thought too, if you're talking to RICO, you're talking international, right? You're talking not just our legal processes, but another country's legal processes. We've got one opportunity to get this right. And we know that we're unraveling from the New World Order. It requires your allies and counterparts to be right on lockstep with you. What if they had a delay? I don't know. I don't know that answer, But he did say last August we had hoped it would be over sooner.
It's freaking brilliant, Feisty.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite possibly the greatest thing that'll ever happen in American history.
We'll be talking about this for generations.
I can't wait. Hey, do you want to help me with my documentary I want to make after this?
Absolutely, I'd love it.
I already have it titled.
Uh-oh.
Do you know what the title is?
No.
Wait for it. It's actually pretty brilliant. I want to call it "Hindsight is 2020: A Stolen Election."
God.
With a stolen election with the extra L.
Right, with the extra L in the kill box, the L in the kill box,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Hindsight is 2020 without the slash. A stolen election with the L. It's brilliant. Now I just have to make the movie.
I just think, and I'm sorry for people that are caught up in the salaciousness of the news. But you've got to step back. You got to take a breath. You have to look at everything that's going on. And it's not just, remember, there's three sides to the triangle. I've done all the research on the Vatican. I don't know that anybody else has done the research on the Vatican. I can tell you all three sides were being unraveled together. That's when Q made that post about which version of the Our Father was posted. He was talking about the Catholic version. There's other religions that use it, but he called it the Vatican side of the triangle, right? He's talking about the Catholic version. Go back to the post about who financed 9/11. It was Alawite funneling money through the Vatican Bank to the CIA, right? If you get that, they disrupted it. In 2013, the Vatican started auditing. Right. 2014, you've got Ripple being due diligence on Ripple. Does it not click? I mean, it's our world is changing right before our eyes. Step back. It's fun to watch.
It's freaking beautiful. Let me say thank you. Amax, who's out here supporting everybody's shows. Amax, if you don't think we see you, we do. Thank you very much for supporting everybody that you support. I am blown away. It's with a $50 Rumble Rant, Feisty, and it says Rambo and Feisty howdy.
Can I get a cup of coffee from you?
What's that?
Can I get a cup of coffee from you?
Yeah. Feisty, tell everybody how they can support you. If they
I don't ask for anything.
I don't ask either. The Rumble Rant's allowed. Well, that's not. I put this. What's this thing? I put this Cash App thing up.
First of all, I don't want to be accountable to trying to track it. No, I've never asked for anything.
Well, okay. So let's have this talk.
I'm joking. Actually, I have no. God will take care of me. I'm fine.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me also say thank you to Heidi Erickson, who gave to the $17. Sherry Weeks 948. You took the words right out of my mouth. Feisty's room is where we go if we need pulled off the ledge.
Yeah, they tell me that all the time.
Well, Feisty. So here's my thing about that. If we can, let's put everything aside for a second. I put up the Cash App. I had to pray about it, and I had to ask my friends. I had to get some feedback before I did it. But people were watching this show on replay that wanted to support. Look, I know what you do.
I'm not going to support you.
I know, but what I'm saying is I know how hard you work. I know because I'm doing it.
No, it was never about anybody else. This was always personal. Somebody wanted to hear my rants, great. But it was still a personal thing for me. I'm okay. I don't mind. I am writing my own book. You can all buy the book. Buy my book.
See? I want to know where you're writing a book right now.
I've been writing a book for a while. It's not going to be done until this phase is over.
All right. Well, you make sure you come on here to promote the book.
I wanted to make sure that my grandkids got an accurate as possible story about how we got through all of this. Because I think people talk about Q, people talk about what the government did, or the negative, the positive, whatever. But I wanted to talk about. Yeah, and then we found out about this, and we found out about that, and how we handled it, and how we got through it with a slice of Q and these kinds of podcasts and other stories. But that book I wanted for my kids so that when they look at this 40 years from now and they say to themselves, how did these idiots let this happen? They would have a true understanding of, God, we were all stoned. Right?
Can we get together and talk about this sometime? Because I'm actually writing a book too, but it's not exactly the same. So mine's more of the story of redemption. So I'm writing the
bit of that
full.
in there too, because you know me with the biblical stuff.
Yes.
And
Yo,
Q, there's so many connections to the biblical story in Q. Not just God wins, but I mean numbers and such like that. There's so much of it. He talked to that what's really cool about Q? If you're a finance person, you could read the monetary side of the triangle. If you're a religious person, you not only got some, I doubt very much, of the Vatican, but you got the biblical, it's going to be biblical side of the triangle. Do you know the very first Q drop that's numbered was dropped at 444? Do you know what that signifies?
Tell me.
Tell everybody. The world. The 4 archangels, the 4 tribes of Israel, the 4 entities of Satan, right? The final battle. And what's the final battle? Our hearts and minds, our souls. And there it is. The very first Q post, the one numbered, not which references the one not numbered, 4:44 p.m.
It's interesting.
I mean, the Q posts are just rife with biblical references, and I love that part of it.
Well, I think that's why
they actually talk to everybody, regardless of where you're at. Those posts talk to every single person.
And I think that's part of the process, and I think that's why I'm writing what I'm writing. So I couldn't have done what I'm doing now 10 years ago, but I'm writing my story from as early as I can remember until now, but with the perspective that I think Q and this movement have given me, which is a much clearer spiritual vision of where I came from.
So many people that have come back to God because of this movement.
Right. I wrote a post on it today.
Yeah. So many people. And glory given to God, because the awakening is necessary.
Yeah.
We've got to find our way back. This is why we got lost.
Well, and there's a level of unity that comes in being completely transparent with the struggles that you've had, and I think it's therapeutic. I think everybody should do it. I
have to tell you, I watched the Flynn movie last night.
Oh yes,
listening to his story, and I obviously I don't know Michael Flynn or his family, although I think his wife follows me now on X. But that story is, if anybody's ever had any issues with the government, we all can identify with what Flynn's going through. Without a doubt. And I'm sitting there almost in tears in some parts because it was so personal. So personal. So I wanted to show you something. Look at that slide I put up. Pull that up. This is actually Donald Trump saying this. Arabs and Israelis, Muslims and Jews and Christians can live together, pray together, and dream together. And up at the top, this is Trump talking about the Abraham Accords, which are the peace accords, right? The Abraham Accords, think about it. Muslims, Jews, and Christians are all Abrahamic religions, right? The father of the religion. But he said the world sees that they're choosing cooperation over conflict, friendship over enmity, prosperity over poverty, and hope over despair. Those Abraham Accords are economic, which is what got them to the table. And it also promises to undo things. If everybody's doing right here where we can live together, pray together, and dream together, Trump says he can end the wars in 24 hours. How really do you do that unless you upend the money that pays for the perpetual wars that everybody's been in? Right? So I think it's a beautiful story. And it's one I think we do ourselves well to have an understanding of, because you're not going to get through this if you don't try to at least at some level understand it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's brilliant. Do you wanna look at the clip that you sent me?
Oh, I love that clip.
before we get out of here?
You talking the Gettysburg one?
Yes.
Oh, before you go, the left and the media have had a heyday with this, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, because I want to hear what you have to say about this. I read what you wrote, but I want you to tell everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Where our union was saved by the immortal heroes at Gettysburg. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable, I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch. And the statement of Robert E. Lee, who's no longer in favor. Did you ever notice that? No longer in favor. Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general. And they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys. But it was too late.
Oh, that is so fantastic. First of all, let's get some history out of the way. That's that battle was fought between Meade and Lee, right? General Lee. He's the Confederate general. If you go to Gettysburg, which I'm sure you have been,
it's right down the street.
Huge statue of him, right? Overlooking what? The cemetery.
Oh yeah.
Overlooking the cemetery.
I take the kids there.
Right? It's a constant reminder that the South lost. Constant. And not only did they lose, but a lot of souls were lost over that battle. Okay. Never fight uphill, my boys. He just told you they lost. We're done. He just said it. They were the Union soldiers. And not the Union, the Confederate soldiers. They were fighting uphill. They lost. And what are they going to overlook? The cemetery. It will be forever known that they're the responsible party for all the destruction and death. Can it get any better?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I love it.
How fun is this, Feisty?
What do you mean, how fun is this? I'm sitting here now. What have we been talking? Almost
2 hours, yeah.
Wait, I could go on for another 2. I mean, this stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, we could do this forever. I'm going to save it. I want to get Sarge back in here, too. I love having you both on. So
I do.
Why don't we do this? Everybody's asking, and I pulled it up a couple times. Let everybody know where they can find you. So that
well, you see the address there, Friends Feisty is on X. I do have a Feisty Cat on Truth, but I don't actually use it very often. And Heidi just put in my Telegram. If you go to the profile on my X account, you'll see the link to the Telegram. We have a chat every night. We open at 8 till people get tired of talking. We start out with prayer, so we don't actually chat until about 8:45. But Eastern time. But I do that every night. And usually on Friday nights, it's a pretty long chat, just so you know.
Every once in a blue moon, I am able to drop in there, like when I'm driving home and don't have phone
fun.
calls. I love it. And your crew is so welcoming, too. They always show nothing but love. I appreciate that.
We've got a great bunch in there. We're a small crowd. Worked hard to nurture the culture of our chat room. I'm very proud of us.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a good crew. It's definitely a super loyal group.
Yeah, they kind of like me.
It's like a family. And well, I'm
so insecure. I needed the constant pat on the back.
They're awesome. They're awesome. If you guys don't know,
absolutely
yeah,
I love
go over there. I did make you an admin on my Telegram, right?
Yes.
Okay. Please.
And I told you I would. I haven't yet.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much to do for one person, and I respect everything that you do. So please feel free to post in there anytime that you want, because my crew and your crew, I hope to end up being the same crew, because you're brilliant. It's true.
I think many of them are in your channel.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm grateful for that. So thank you. Another person I want to say thank you to is Azure Island. Just went Red Castle, is now a monthly supporter. You guys have no idea. I don't know that I had any people buy Red Castles on the old show. So there's now been, I mean, I think we're pushing 10 or so people that chose to support the show on a monthly basis.
That's awesome.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to figure out some way to say thank you to that Red Castle crew that keeps doing that. So thank you guys very, very much. Feisty Cat, I hope that everybody goes and follows you. We
Well,
will
we got to
absolutely.
get back on together soon because I have like 20 slides I never got to show you.
I would keep going now, but I can hear the
No.
kids coming in.
Yeah, I got it's getting the bad time of day for me too.
Yeah. Well, we'll do it again.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for having me on. You have all these major people coming on, and here I am. It's like, oh,
You are a major people. So I do have a really cool week coming up, but then the week after that's open. So maybe we can talk. We'll talk and we'll figure out a day.
okay. I look forward
But
to it.
I do have Monday night is going to be an epic
Cannot
roundtable.
wait for that.
Yeah. First of all, guys, hit the thumbs up. Share the show out. If you missed the first parts of this show, I highly suggest going back. Feisty's brilliant. We
But I
always have a great time going
fast
back.
and over your head. Did you slow me down enough?
I think so. Everybody's giving it great reviews. So
Well, thank you,
share the
everybody.
show
I
out.
appreciate that.
Share the show. Hit the thumbs up. I appreciate all of the support. If you guys find it, the reason I did the Cash App is because somebody actually asked me to do it for people that watch this on replay, because most of the views do come on replay. So nothing is required to watch a show. I agree with Feisty. I don't ask for anything, but if you feel the need, that's why it's there. Somebody asked me to do it. And Monday night, Epic Roundtable, and Wednesday night, Carly Bonet is coming on. I'm really excited about that. Yeah. And
She's
Friday,
in the movement, right?
dude, she's a legend, right?
Well, I wish Josh were still alive because the two of them, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Carly's going to be great. I can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome.
It is
I don't
good.
know. Yeah.
Congratulations. You're scoring.
Yeah,
big.
thank you. Yeah, she's and she's back on X for anybody that doesn't know. She's she's on Twitter, and she blew up to like 100 and some thousand in like 2 weeks. I was like, this chick's a legend. It is what it is. All right. Well, this was awesome.
7,500.
Well, hopefully that changes. Everybody that watches this show, replay, or you're here now, if you're not following Feisty Cat, you are missing out on next level research.
Yeah, where else can you see all the typos I put out in a thread?
I can't spell, or my grammar stinks.
I look at my threads after I'm done going, oh man, I wish I was the blue check mark so I could go back and edit. I guess there's so many typos. Maybe you don't want to follow me because it can get kind of confusing to understand it.
Yale said, "Buckle your seatbelts for Carly." I hear she's a blast to hang out with.
Well, come on. Who doesn't remember her laugh?
Yeah.
She's got all the videos where she just crack up.
Is that her voice on the one that says that's a mask? Is that her? That wasn't Carly, was it? I can't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
Hold on. Is this Carly's voice? It's a legendary clip. Hold on a second before we get out of here. Hold on. I got to pull my Twitter up. I just posted it yesterday on something. It's an old clip that everybody's seen a couple 100,000 times, but I always like to write something that's more up to date with the old clips. But do you know the clip where he scratches his neck?
Mm-hmm.
If this is Carly's voice, I can't remember who it was. But this one. Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
Is that Carly? I don't think it is.
think it is. No, her voice is a lot more, it's gruff.
This one.
A very conservative guy who was very, very. Oh my gosh, that's a mask. African American.
Carly, I don't recall Carly saying gosh.
Well, the key to.
Sorry. I don't think it is, but you're going to have to ask her.
Yeah, I'll have to ask her because I can't remember where that clip's old at this point. We've used it. Everybody's used it a couple million times. I wrote something on top of it.
It's all over my channel.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fug?
Fug. All right. Well, much love to everybody out there in the chat. Everybody that watched this on replay, please hit the thumbs up. Whether you're here or you're watching it on replay, we all appreciate all the support. I will see you guys Monday, Wednesday night, and Friday at 1 p.m. Please go follow Feisty Cat. She's brilliant, and we will absolutely do this again, Feisty.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're the
I
best.
had fun. This is great. I love being with you.
Right? It always is fun. All right. We'll see you guys all next time. Much love. Peace.
Bye now.